Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on assignment 4, which, if you remember, was a presentation on a case study or real world sort of example of critical pedagogy in being implemented in the classroom and in schools. So the range is A minus to A, but I do want to warn you that the range is actually quite large, because it's really the very bottom of the A minus range to fairly high on the A grade. So there was a lot of discrepancy here in terms of quality between teams. Some of the caveats I would like to just highlight is that really at graduate level, we're looking for always, and this is not just this assignment, this is a general a statement of an expectation that we have at graduate level in all courses and all programs, is that we want to see analytical work rather than descriptive work. So whenever you're in a graduate sort of task and you're being descriptive, you know you're going wrong. And there's some of the teams here did go into descriptive, right? You gave a lot of secondary data, you gave a lot of information about the program or the case study, which was definitely very interesting. But this is not necessarily what the assignment is about. It's about doing that, but then very quickly moving on to an analytical lens on what you are presenting. So that involves a critique, and really the conclusion, really finishing the course, that you must the realization you must have all come to, is that critical pedagogy is a bit of a theoretical utopia, and it's very rare to see critical pedagogy being fully and purely implemented in the field. What we do see is we see a lot of examples of it being implemented in different ways to different degrees along different lines. And so a critique of this sort really is always going to come down to saying, yes, this is critical pedagogy, but to what extent is it? So really the detail and what would have made the analysis here rich would have been to say, to what extent did it align with the literature that you've encountered in the course, but to what degree did it not align with the literature that you've seen in the course? And all of the projects which you brought forward were good examples of attempts at implementing critical pedagogy, but there would definitely been a lot of caveats, a lot of concerns, a lot of very specific issues that you should have been able to raise using the literature. And so when the marks haven't been that great, it's been because that's been missing. The description was there, but the analysis and the critique wasn't there. Other things to think about as well. I think whenever you have a team presentation, you have to think about process. The process wasn't always great. I need to see collaboration in a team. I need to see an equitable division of the workload. I wasn't always able to see this. You also need to think about your presentation skills and engagement of the viewer. I know it's the beginning of the program, but still, we do ask you to create these videos and that content for your peers. Therefore, you must engage your peers. And a lot of the presentation, I'm sure if you step back, you will quickly assess that they were probably not optimal in creating viewer engagement, retention of content, and a rich degree of immersion of your peers into what you were presenting. In it sometimes it had to do with the way you really structured your talk, the tempo, the technical issues that arose, sometimes the critical choices that you made to not be on camera at all and not be speaking, and that was problematic. So I do need you to also think about what is learner engagement, what is optimal in presenting this information with my colleague, could we have done differently? And I think a lot of the teams here could have done things very differently. Overall, I have to say it was very interesting. All your case studies and your examples of projects were obviously very appropriate and definitely pertinent. So seeing that secondary data was always certainly a pleasure, but there was often a piece missing there as well, where it should have gone a lot further. Some teams did very well. So I do encourage you, as always, I know it's been a bit rushed in 8 weeks, but do take the time to go back and to view the projects if you've not viewed them. It's a huge part of your learning, right? You learn just as much for these presentations from peers as you learn from my presentations or my interactions with you in the course. So even if it's after the facts, do make sure that you catch up and you get the maximum in terms of outcomes from this course by viewing this, even if it's after the fact. Okay.